Hi, sisters! Welcome back to another episode of the Undesired and Prescribed podcast. I am Brown Sugar, and today talking about James Charles a little bit because he's been in the news recently. Huge James Charles fan, love of my life right here. Um, big gay crush on James Charles. I am very gay for James Charles. He has a really nice butt, but you know, not so much that I like him, but more so of like something that I've been thinking about for a fairly long time, and I feel like it's just relevant again. But anyways, so James Charles back in the news again for sending underage minors sexually explicit content. So basically, the distribution of child pornography, which is a felony. Um, and he's admitted to this as well, by the way, and I don't know. Figure I share my 2 cents on the subject. So I'll start off by saying that it's definitely wrong for him to be sending uh, explicit content, sexually explicit content, to anybody without consent, and especially a minor. He claims that he didn't know that they were underage because they said that they were at least 18, which I do believe him on that. But the thing about that is, I mean, it's still a crime, still a big fat no no. So I feel I like when it comes to this specific situation, I'm a little bit like on both sides and like without any sort of bias like at all because so it happened earlier in the year with a 14-year-old boy, and the current one that has happened is 16. But the one that happened earlier this year was a 14-year-old boy, and it was the same thing of James Charles sending sexually explicit content to 14-year-old boy, and he came out and exposed him for it, and James Charles was like, well, at the time he told me that he was 18, and once I found out that he wasn't, I unadded him and stopped talking to him. And it seemed, and this one that is happening again this time is, um, like, excuse me, I have that slightly wrong. Where he set sexually explicit content to the 14-year-old back in July, and the one that recently came out, um, it's more so of James Charles seemed to be grooming him, but there was nothing like there was no sexually. What did they say specifically? Because they said something along the lines of nothing got like sexually. Oh yeah, he said it never got sexual, but he was calling him cute, daddy, and making him feel uncomfortable. Which so that's the thing of why he's back in the news is that he's grooming a 16-year-old boy. Um, so let me speak a little to how I feel on the subject because I think it is unfair to call James Charles a predator, a pedophile, whatever the case may be, because at least to me, I know there's like an actual if you break these laws, you are going to be considered a sexual predator and pedophile. But would you really consider somebody who unknowingly sends sexually explicit content or engages sexually with someone minor, a sex predator, if they don't know the age? And to me, I consider a pedophile or a sexual predator somebody who avidly seeks out underage minors and looks to purposely take advantage of them, or knowingly is conscious of their age and continues to take advantage of them. Now, I don't think I really do believe him when he says that he wasn't made aware of his age and they told him a different age at first because he had the same thing happen already like earlier this year. I don't think that he's going to go through the same thing of like, oh, well, So I just hypothetically, if the guy back in July made it very aware to him, like when they first started talking, that he was underage, and he just said, "Fuck it, I don't care." I don't really think he'd go through that same issue again, because even if he did actually do that, like he was conscious of the 14-year-old's age all the way back in July, there's no way that he would have gone through with it. I mean, like even if he was conscious of it, there definitely would have been some sort of like files, like settlement, something like that, because there's no way that somebody can be conscious of that and do that and just get away with it. So for me, I wouldn't consider James Charles a pedophile or sex predator, because I don't feel like he's avidly searching out minors. I will say he is an opportunist, excuse me, taking advantage of his fame and influence to, I don't want to say prey upon like his fans or anything, but that's what it seems. Just really take advantage of his status and get whatever he wants from his fans in terms of like sexual meanings and sexual pleasures. Because all the way back in 2019, when what was that bitch, like Toddy Westbrook and Sam Cooke, I think it was, when they were trying to cancel him, saying that he manipulates straight men. It's very obvious that he does take advantage of his fame and fortune and talks to like fans. Why he does that, I don't really know. Maybe he's insecure about his own physical appearance, which is why he's going to go ahead and try to take advantage of that fame and fortune and status and use it with his fans. I don't know. I really don't know why, because he's very attractive. I already said, big crush on James Charles. Very gay for James Charles. I love James Charles, all right? So I feel like he can definitely like get like an actual boyfriend and whatever. If he just wants to get nudes and stuff like that, that's fine. But like, I feel like, obviously you can't force somebody and push somebody to do something that they don't want to do, because it's an incredibly horrible thing to do. But back to my original point, I wouldn't consider him a pedophile. What I would consider him is somebody who does take advantage of their status, which a good portion of celebrities do, no matter what level of celebrity they are. And there's been a lot of call for him to be canceled for this, which, I feel may be a bit extreme, in all honesty. I personally don't like the cancel culture too much, mainly because it doesn't seem they seem to like pick and choose. Like it doesn't seem like 100% unbiased and totally fair, because if cancel culture really had their way, James Charles would have been canceled back in July of this year for it, when he actually did something wrong. Because what he did back in 2019, completely different. Manipulating straight men. I mean, like, if you know what happened in that situation, even with like what the accuser said, like came out and was sharing of his stories, like he specifically said when he like DM'd James Charles, he was like, I'm single. If you need to talk to somebody, just talk to me. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, like at that point, you're definitely trying to do something there, pal. So don't try to act all innocent there. But different subject. But for James Charles to have gone through something similar to this earlier in the year, and we come back, fast forward all the way to like February now. Well, March at the time of the recording, but February is when the incidents happen. And you're not taking the extra precautions to make sure this guy is who he really says he is, because a lot of people are going to try to take advantage of celebrities for their status, the clout, so that they can truly say, oh, like even if it's something as like bad as trying to like make somebody else look bad, like James Charles, like, oh, he's a predator, or he's making me feel uncomfortable, stuff like that, when there's a good chance that I 100% believe that guy, whoever he is, wasn't iterating to James his actual age, or probably even lying about his age. So that way he can continue talking to him. And I'm not saying that it just happens with James Charles. Like, I guarantee it happens with almost any celebrity at all. Like, from male to female. But he definitely should have taken the extra precautions to confirm whether or not this person was who he said he was. And granted, the reason that the age of consent is 18 is because they don't consider children that aren't 18, smart enough or conscious enough to make decisions like that for themselves. So, them going on and lying about their age to talk to a celebrity that they might enjoy is not hard to believe whatsoever. But at the same time, I look at James Charles as, granted, I know he's a celebrity, I know he's an adult, but he's still a very young person. And I'm not defending him because I like him. I'm just like defending. If this was anybody else, I would defend them the same exact way, because I just think it's an incredibly bad situation all around. That he's looking to take advantage of fans and exploit them for sexual desires, which it didn't seem like it was in this case. Calling somebody cute, babe, daddy, like, definitely uncomfortable for a heterosexual man to experience. I know that. And it's probably all around creepy too, especially if you're just like a fan of the person and you're just like, like somebody that you look up to and idolize, whatever the case may be, flirting with you and you don't like that. Obviously that's uncomfortable, but he should have gone through the extra steps, as I mentioned, fact checking, like seeing an ID, making sure that he is who he says he is, that he is somebody of the age of 18 before even engaging in any sort of talk like that whatsoever. Being a celebrity in this day and age, I feel like you can't take people at their word. As fucked up as it sounds, if I'm not saying they have to get a full ass background check, fingerprint, all that kind of stuff, but there needs to be some level of degree that you are researching the people that you're with, and he's taking accountability for that at least, which is good. And he's not trying to like say that this is all him being set up or anything like that, because he truly did fuck up again. I feel like everybody gave him a pass earlier in the year. Everybody did give him a pass earlier in the year, but this time, it seems a little bit more severe. It still seems like everybody's like on the fence about it. I mean, I watch Drama Alert. I'm a big Keemstar fan. I respect Keemstar. He thinks he should be canceled. He thinks he should be thrown in jail. He's done with James Charles, which I can definitely see why that is. His main point behind it is that he's committed a crime, but I don't believe that he had sent inappropriate pictures to this one, because he said nothing sexual happened. So I would assume that if you're sending somebody dick pics, they would count that as something sexual. But still, flirting with an underage child is definitely not good. If I could think of something to be fair, I think he should have to pay some sort of like settlement for it, because in all honesty, there's genuinely bad people out there that are getting away with this. And to punish somebody that's so young and doesn't know that should know better but doesn't for some reason, like dramatically into like the same status of somebody that is conscious of what they're doing and does it, should definitely not be held to that same standard. There needs to be something put in place to where he does, like, James Charles has to do, like, so he never does this again, because it really is a fucked up situation, or situations, to where a 21-year-old chatting with 14 and 16-year-olds, like, that's definitely not good. But I think there should be some sort of like settlement, fine, anything like that. But I don't know, for me it's just hard to imagine, like, knowing, like, I've known like sexual predators, pedophiles in my life, and I just have a hard time comparing, like, seeing James Charles and them in the same boat, because James Charles doesn't appear to be avidly searching for underage people. He just makes the dumbass mistake of taking people at the word without researching as a celebrity and seeing whether or not they really are of the age of 18. But the reason that I've been like it's been like on my mind a lot recently is because aside from the fact that I love James Charles, love him. I've only watched one of his YouTube videos though. Is I was thinking about this a little bit ago because I was watching. So if you're familiar with NBC Dateline, To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, I wasn't watching that. It was his follow-up show called Hansen versus Predator on Crime Watchers, in which a lot of the times, like in the sting operation specifically, they were saying we set up the sting operation to find men trying to prey, to find men preying on younger children, and it got me thinking a little bit. When it happens to boys, it's not so much that when it happens to boys, it's still bad and obviously like that. But what about when the sexual predator is a woman? Because they do exist. They do take advantage of younger boys. So I was curious on thoughts about that because I was thinking about this a lot. And it's like there are female sex offenders out there. A lot like the most common ones that we really think of and see in the news a lot are teachers. Teacher caught having sex with her 16, 17, 14-year-old student, whatever the case may be. But I feel like outside of that, I really don't hear too much, and it doesn't get the same spotlight as, when it's a guy. And I'm not saying it has anything to do with sex whatsoever, like the gender or whatsoever. It's just more so of I find that interesting because obviously I would definitely say registered sex offenders and people who are considered child predators or people that would consider child predators are majority male. But I don't know. I just been thinking about that a lot recently because those sting operations are, they say those sting operations are constructed to catch men. But it just ran across my mind. It's what happens if they get a female on that show? They catch a female trying to do that stuff. Because in all those episodes that I've seen, all those segments that I've seen, not a single time has it been a female that's come to the house looking to have inappropriate sexual interactions with underage children. So I don't know. That was just something that I just wanted to throw in there because I had been thinking about it. But I am curious to know your guys' thoughts and feelings on this whole James Charles situation. I'd definitely like to converse more about it. This would have been something I would have liked to have somebody on here with me that sees it the opposite way. I think that would have been made for a lot richer content for sure. But please let me know in the comments if you're on YouTube. Hit me up if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, literally wherever. Check out my Linktree. Connect with me on all my social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's so many ways to connect with me because I am genuinely curious to hear about to hear what other people think on the situation. I would like to converse more about it for sure, but go ahead and follow me on all those platforms. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Any other suggestions that you want for topics, again, connect with me on those platforms and let me know. More than willing to new content that you guys want to see more of. But hey, until the next UP, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Take care.